Hello, my name is Rebecca, and I am going to be leading you through Seed of Power. God helped me write this, and I'm very excited for what is to come. Over the next 6 weeks, I hope that you're going to dedicate yourself to growing and doing everything that you need to get the most out of this. I have put my heart and soul into it. I have given you every good tip that I could think of that was really important, and I just don't want you to miss anything. You know, I created this because I have been being a life coach for about 1.5 years, and it just was breaking my heart that I was able to work with some people and I could help some people, but I wanted it to be bigger. There's only one of me, and the things that I've been taught to teach people, I can't do that by meeting with so many people one-on-one or even in a group. It would be difficult. And I found that, not everybody has the means or the desire to hire a coach, and so they're missing out on this information. Some of the information that I'm going to be sharing with you about discovering who you are is things that I go over in my coaching program, and I wanted to make it available to you for free. And so I have sewn myself into this because I want to give to you. I may not even know you, but I just want you to know that God loves you and He has a plan for you, and He wants you to know what that is, and He wants you to get on board, and He has so many great things that He wants to give you as you grow. So that's what we're here to do. We're here to grow, and Seed of Power is the name that I gave this study because we all begin as a seed. We begin as this seed of potential. We've been given our personality type and our strengths and our weaknesses. Everything that we are is we are born with it. So regardless if we ever become Christians and connect to God, we will become and have the ability to have those things. That's why you see people that are successful, that are very, very good at things, but they are not Christians. It's because God gave them a certain measure of power in the seed of who they were as they were created. And He didn't make them choose Him. They get to choose that for themselves. But they are a seed. And so what I'm going to be teaching you about in this Bible study is about your design and how to uncover that so that you know what your personality type is. And the benefit of knowing that is that you no longer will look at other people and think about what you're not, because you were going to really be able to fall in love with what you are, because God created you perfectly for what He decided He wanted for you to do. So it's a matter of you learning about these things so you can get on board with it. And you're going to learn about your strengths and your weaknesses, because your strengths you need to know. Some people don't even realize the things that they're good at. They come so naturally to them that they have taken them for granted. Or maybe they have used those strengths for evil and not for good. And so we want to make sure that you're aware of those dynamics. And when I say we, I guess I'm talking about me and God, because I don't really look at this as something I'm just doing on my own. I'm just trying to be a vessel to serve God in the way that He created me to be. So I'm fulfilling my purpose by helping you. And then we want to learn about our weaknesses. Our weaknesses are very important for us to know, because our weaknesses are actually what trip us up a lot of times. They're what sabotage us, because the world, the enemy, has told us that if you're not good at something, then you should try to get better at it, because it's like unacceptable to not be good at something, right? I grew up most of my life kind of feeling bad about who I was because I wasn't good at sports. I didn't have any talents that I could point to and say, oh, I'm really good at that. And the things that I was good at, they're a little more obscure. I'll talk about those as we go on, but it's really important for us to know what our weaknesses are. Not that you can avoid them completely, but we want to learn how to go around them and really lean into our strengths. So we're going to learn about all of those dynamics. Next, we are going to be learning, first, we're going to be learning about putting God first. And part of what I'm doing through the study is I theme it around a tree. So we start as a seed with all of that potential, and when you plant a seed into the soil, which the soil is the environment that we grow up in, this world that is contaminated by the enemy and sin and temptation. And then we also, so we have to learn how to deal with that, because we didn't really have a choice about that. That's just the way that it is. And then we also have to look at the way that our history of our soil has affected our lives, and the way that the enemy used the things that happened to us to sabotage us. And it's deep into our subconscious, and we're going to learn how to pull those things out and get them out and shine truth on them so that they no longer have any power over us, because we don't want power in anything negative. And that is the enemy having control over us. So we want to free ourselves from that, and we want to be able to bring those things to God and cover it with truth. So we have the seed, then the soil, and then the roots. So every seed, if you know anything about how the seed grows, is a seed will begin first to grow roots, and it's searching for the nutrients in the water, and it also stabilizes the seed. So we want to be able to grow roots to seek for God and to find the nutrients and the things that spiritually we cannot get from this world, we can only get from God, as well as the living water of Christ and what He has given us. And we want to make sure that we're deeply rooted in God. So we're going to talk a lot about putting God first and how to connect to Him and what that looks like and the changes that we need to make in our life. They're not huge changes. You're going to be really surprised at how, they're simple things. But the enemy has clouded us and made us think we're too busy and that we don't have time for God. So we're going to deal with those things, and we're going to figure out how we're going to do things differently, because if we don't have our stability, if we don't have God, in the Word it talks about building a house on with God is like a strong foundation, so when the storms come, it will stand. And when you don't have God, then it's like building a house on sand. I'm sure you've heard of that, and I don't know exactly where it is, but it is so true. And that is the problem that many people are having nowadays, is that they don't have a foundation, and they love God, they go to church, and they do things that they think that they're supposed to do, but they're really missing that deeper connection. And it's not about being perfect. No, not at all. That is something that a lot of people think, like, I just have to be so perfect and so good. It is about loving, and you're going to learn all about that too. So once you have your roots, your seed, you plant it in the soil, you have your roots, and you're really working on that, then you begin to grow, and that trunk is the core of who you are. That is your personality, and that is your strengths and your weaknesses. So the more that you have self-awareness and you understand, then that trunk gets wider and wider, and it gets more stronger and stronger, because we play a huge role in our lives. God has given us power in a different way, and that was the power of choice. So we can choose to join Him in His plans for us, or we can completely leave Him behind and do our own thing. And that is what's going on. A lot of people, unfortunately, are doing their own thing, and that is what really broke my heart and wanted me to help people to grow and change. My own self included, I struggled with, I loved God, and I served, and I did my things that I kind of need to do, go to church and did some Bible studies and grew and had lots of knowledge, and I even understood a lot of spiritual principles, but I was still lukewarm. And that is what, unfortunately, the problem is. Most people are lukewarm, and the reason is we aren't connecting to God, first of all. We don't have our roots deep enough, so we really don't fully have the ability to implement a lot of spiritual things into our life, because we just don't have that foundation. But the other thing is, the enemy is all around us, and he wants nothing more than to keep us from God and keep our relationship with God cut off. And he wants us to be busy and caught up and stressed out and in fear. And so he wants us to be completely off track of what we were created to be, and busy doing things of the world. And that is what we are going to call him out on, and we are going to discover what things he's using in our lives to trip us up, and we're going to start confronting that in our lives during this time. So you are the trunk and you're growing, and what comes next is the branches. And the branches would represent the things in your life that you care about, the things that you put your time and energy into. So like maybe it's like your family is on a branch, and your money, financial stuff, your career, your job. Maybe you have a service like where you actually are out there doing something good in the world. So what we're going to be talking about is the health of those branches and the way that you can kind of visually think about it. If you were a tree, then would you have really healthy, flourishing leaves on each of those branches, are things that you're putting your time and energy to? Because the reason why I brought this up, why it came to me, is I use it in my coaching program as an accountability thing. But if I were to have looked at myself as a tree, back before I really started getting on purpose, I was really focusing on my career and trying to make money because I thought that that's what my family needed, is security, financial security, and that was what I believed was what I was supposed to do, for the best thing I could do for my family. It was a lie, and I just got completely caught up in that. And the thing is my family suffered. Not detrimentally, thankfully, but if you had looked at me as a tree, that branch of my life would be pretty barren because I was not putting the time and energy to it, although I didn't realize that I was doing anything to hurt my family intentionally. So those are the kind of things that we're going to uncover. And then I want you to just think of, after you are flourishing as a tree, the thing is, you can be a very flourishing tree on your own. You maybe are connecting yourself to God, you have some self-awareness, you're doing really well and all these different things. But the thing is, are you bearing fruit? Are you doing anything that gives to other people? Are you having fruit in your life that goes beyond yourself? So God wants you to bear so much fruit, because that means that you are connected to Him and you're healthy and you are fulfilling your purpose, because your purpose is always going to be fruitful. And that is something that I'm very excited to help you to understand. So make sure that you are engaging with the online community throughout this process. Again, you will be given your workbook and you will be able to follow along. We have 5 days out of the week that you get to learn and grow, and I broke it into 5 days a week for a few reasons. First of all, there's no way that I could get you all the information that I needed in one video or in one Sunday afternoon. So I went ahead and broke a lot of the principles and the things that you need to learn to grow, and they are in that workbook in 5 days out of the week. So you can choose to do them all on one day, like I normally roll, or you can do them, what I prefer is that you do them at one every day. Most likely during the week is going to be your schedule that you could fit it in, make it a priority. I'm not sure exactly how long it's going to take you. I'm thinking that it shouldn't be longer than a half an hour, maybe 15 minutes. It really kind of depends on you and how detailed you want to get. But remember, this is about you and your growth. So don't be afraid to dig in and really take advantage of this time that you have to change and transform and to be ready for that next level of life. And so on the online community, I want you to put things out there for discussions. If you have prayer requests, interact and engage with each other and comment on people's stuff as we learn our personality types and our strengths. I'm going to put a call out for you guys to list what yours on there so that people can see how different everybody is. And it's going to be really exciting to create that community of support and learning and growing. Feel free to invite friends to this, and they can download things off of the Facebook page. I have all the files on there that you'll need, or you can order a book, and again, it's $10. It's $3 if you need it shipped to you extra. So I'm very excited that we get to go through this together, and I'm excited to see you grow. I'm excited to watch you get to a point where you can bear a lot of fruit, that you will have distinction between you and the non-believer, that people will begin to notice that you have changed and you are different, because God has so much more planned for us than we could ever ask or imagine, and we want to be a part of that. So I'm really excited, and let's do this.